Welcome to the Illuminated Path podcast. I'm your host, Liv, founder of Eno Wellness Collective. My wellness journey started with yoga, which led me down the path of exploring healing modalities like meditation, breath work, sound healing, mindset work, and so much more. This exploration inspired my mission to help others find what lights them up. Get comfortable and curious as we learn from experts, teachers, and creators who are lighting up their communities and living an inspired, expansive life. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the Illuminated Path podcast. I'm your host, Liv, and I'm excited to be bringing you today's episode. I'm recording this intro from beautiful Bali. Today's episode is with Kori Zornes, who is the founder of Revamp Retreats. And Kori and I linked up because we are going to be co-hosting Eno Wellness Collective and Revamp a retreat here in Bali in just a few short weeks. And so I felt like the episode timing for this one is spot on. I'm so excited to introduce you all to Kori and share a little bit about her journey. So Kori has spent the past 12 years in the wellness space. She has taught yoga, she's done integrative nutrition, she's worked with nonprofits, and she's created a thriving business called Revamp Retreats, which leads life-changing retreat experiences all over the world. Kori is now living her dream life here in magical Bali, and she spends her time surfing, teaching, building community, and being a mama. Today, we get into all of that, how she created Revamp, what that transition was like into becoming a mother, and how she's balancing it all these days and finding a way to have her well-being and her family thrive at the same time. And so I'm excited to share this conversation with you all. Let's dive in. Welcome to the podcast today, Kori.
Thank you so much for having me. I cannot wait to jump into all the things.
Yes, I am so excited to get to have this time with you before I actually get to meet you in person in just a few months. Heading to Bali. Many people know that I'm heading there for my first retreat in Bali in July. And I am so excited to be collaborating with you and with Revamp for this. And so I wanted to share a bit about your story and just the amazing work and transitions and transformations that you've been going through over there in Bali with the Eno Wellness community. So I would love to kick it off with just hearing a little bit about you, what you're doing right now. We'll obviously dive into your story and how Revamp was even born, but would love just to know a little bit about who you are and what you're doing these days.
Thank you. Okay. Well, yeah, first of all, congrats on your retreat. It has been such a great collaboration. Your retreat sold out so fast. Such a good group coming. I cannot wait to have you guys here in Bali. But about me, so I am a mama. I have a 2-year-old, a little wild, fun toddler. I think he's calm in the realm of toddlers, but the whole toddler phase is still just wild and fun. So I have a toddler. His name is River. We live here in Bali. And I didn't know I'd be living in Bali. I was running retreats for my company, Revamp Retreats. I was running retreats all over the world. So I was living in LA as a home base, and I was running about 15 retreats a year. So all year, I would literally just hop back and forth from LA to different places all around the world. I'd go to Costa Rica, come back to LA, to Mexico, to Peru, to Europe. So it was, this amazing, wild, beautiful travel life. And right before COVID, I landed in Bali for retreats. We had the whole year planned. Everything was ready to go. I was like, I'm going to come to Bali. And I actually never come to Bali at this time. It was February before COVID happened. And I always plan Bali at the end of the year. So I find it very serendipitous. I'm like, the universe wanted me here. So I come to Bali. I remember my mom being like, wear a mask on the plane. Everyone's talking about this thing. And I literally sent her a selfie of like wearing a face mask. I'm like, yeah, wear my mask. I was just like, what is this thing that everyone's talking about? And when I got into Bali, that's when everything started happening and the whole world shut down. And so I just stayed. I was like, what better place to be? And Bali was an amazing place to be. And during that time, I met my partner. I got pregnant. I had a baby. And now Bali is home. So it was never a plan. I just magically landed here. And, through retreats and through what I do, it all brought me here. So I feel very guided by the universe and something so much bigger than me. Yeah. And I started Revamp Retreats 7 years ago, running retreats all around the world. And the reason I started it was because I went on my first retreat in Costa Rica. So if you are, heading on your first retreat, I want you to know that they can be so life-changing. So I quit my corporate job, went on my first retreat. I had no plan of where my life was going, what I was doing. Everyone thought I was crazy. And I go on this retreat in the jungles with this man named David Wolf, this wild, wild man. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
him. And we talked about everything, the government and aliens and life and money and purpose and freedom. And I was sparked. I was like, this is medicine to my system. For the first time in my life, I felt like someone was speaking the truth to me and I was like alive. And I called my best friend that night and I was just like, "Oh my god, I feel like my whole life's been a lie. Everything I learned at school, everything I learned from society and growing up, like none of it felt real to me." And so from that point forward, I really decided like I'm going to build the life that I want on my terms, how I want to do it. And that led me to creating Revamp because I was like, I want to give other people this experience to find freedom and to find their own purpose and to find their own healing and their own spark, whatever that is for them. So that is about Revamp. And that is why I'm here in Bali being a mama.
That's amazing that you were there before COVID and then just decided to be like, hey, I'm going to make it my home, and then all these like different things that allowed you to stay in Bali. I hear that a lot about Bali. It's a special place for me as well, but it pulls you in right when you need it. So I know that you are originally from Las Vegas, right? And you have some
Las
Hawaiian roots
Vegas.
as well. So in
Yeah.
terms of pre your first retreat, pre the
Mhm.
pre version of you before you had this sort of aha, I'm going to
Yeah.
change my life and I want to change other people's lives. What were you doing? What were sort of your early days like in Las Vegas?
Hmm. That is a great question. And I, love this other part of me and this other chapter of my life because it is so opposite from who I am today. I'm like, wow, if people from my past life could see where I'm at today, or if people from today could see my past life, they'd be like, wow, I did not know that was you. So I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. My mom is from Hawaii and my dad is from Nebraska. And my mom moved from Hawaii, and when she was a young girl, she packed up one suitcase and all of her girlfriends, and they moved to Vegas, and they were dealing blackjack, and she met my dad at a poker game, and they stayed in Vegas and had me. So I'm like, I could have been born in Hawaii, like, I have so many Hawaiian roots there, and instead I was born in Vegas, a really interesting place to grow up, and also an amazing place, like, there's great community and great nature, but it's also just a lot at your fingertips, a lot to access, a lot of entertainment, a lot of alcohol, a lot of partying. So my childhood was, kind of wild. I partied a lot. Things are open 24/7, like they never close. I remember when I went to college in California and I was at a bar and they said last call and I looked at my friend and I was like, "What does that mean?" And she's like, "Bars close." And I'm like, "They close?" Because in Vegas nothing closes. It is a town that is open all year long, all night long. So I grew up I think I grew up in a very normal family. I had a very, caring parents, and I really cared about what people thought. So I did really good in school. I tried really hard, and behind the scenes, I was, like, partying as much as I could. My high school award was biggest party animal. So I was, like, on one hand, wild, trying to, like, explore all of life with not the healthiest things, and then on the other hand, I was, like, really just trying to be good enough and fit in and, you know, climb this ladder of what I thought life was supposed to be. So I got straight A's. If I didn't get an A, I was like so stressed out. I was like in tears. After high school, I went to college at the University of San Diego. And yeah, I had a great college experience, also partied a lot, but was magna cum laude and top of my class and always competing to be the best. Like I was just really striving because like I need to make it out on top. That's what our society's about. You have to get the best grades, to get the best job, to get the best opportunities, to make the most money, to buy this house. So I was really on that path of like grinding and stressed and trying to be the best. And so after college, I did veer a couple times. Like after college, I would come into these moments of like making my own decisions that were different than the path that was set out for me. So after college, I was like, I want to go live in China for a year and teach English. And it was middle of nowhere China. No one in the town spoke English. We were like 5 hours from the closest airport. It was a beautiful experience. So there were these drops in my life of travel and culture and experiences that really were like just settling into my system. But still the message from society was stronger than my own desires at the time. So I got the corporate job in Las Vegas. I was doing marketing and events for a restaurant in Las Vegas and I'd go to work every day, I'd go to yoga every day after work. I was obsessed with yoga. I didn't know why I was obsessed with it. And then on the weekends, I'd go see the DJs and party and stay out all night. And like that was the circuit. That was the routine day in and day out. It's like work hard, make good money, go to yoga, party really hard. And at one point, something felt so empty. I was just like, I felt this pit in my stomach of like, could this really be the purpose of my life? And I'm so grateful for that voice that came in, wherever that voice came from. Like, that was the voice that made me change my mind and leave everything and quit the job. And I went and got my YTT, my yoga certification, and ended up on that first retreat. So, I feel like I've always been divinely guided. I've always had this connection to something bigger. I just didn't always listen to it. And then starting Revamp, it's like the partying stopped, the drinking stopped, the unconscious ways of like working and being in society, they stopped. And I woke up to everything and I was like, I can't live that way anymore. And, now I'm just still on this path of figuring things out day by day and on a path to freedom and being more still and more relaxed and enjoying these moments. And then motherhood throws the next curveball of everything in your life, and it's been the greatest lesson of all. So I'm just still constantly like opening up to whatever downloads are coming, and I'm always realizing like I don't have it figured out. I'm just figuring it out day by day.
Yeah, and you mentioned that when you started Revamp, even that it sounds like you went from this old kind of version of you to I'm going to start it. And you mentioned you hosted 15 retreats in that first year.
Yeah.
So you had it in you to
Mhm.
be like, I'm not only going to go into this new chapter, but I'm going to go like guns blazing and I'm going to go all in. So what was that first year of Revamp like? Were you, I'm assuming it was pretty much you doing a lot of it plus some support, but what was that like just making that big shift into this world of retreats?
Yeah. It was insane. And like I ran 15 retreats with all different teachers and leaders. So I wasn't teaching them, but I was holding the back end for 15 retreats all around the world in 1 year, my first year of starting a company. And I went to business school, but they don't even teach you how to start a company in business school. Like you learn all these things in school, but then you're trying to like balance your finances and start an LLC. And it's just you're figuring it all out as you go. So this young girl figuring it all out as I went, and I went in really, really hard. And I look back at where that came from and I'm like, oh, part of that was my old programming and old conditioning of like, I need to be the best. I need to work so hard. I need to make so much money. I need to work like I saw my dad working because my dad is an amazing entrepreneur who never took time off. So I went into my first year like that. And it was amazing. Like, wow, these retreats were life changing. People were quitting corporate jobs. People were like starting their own life paths and moving across the world. The first retreat we ever led in Bali, 4 people quit their jobs. One person from that retreat still lives in Bali. One person like moved to Australia and met a guy and had a baby there. Like I still have so many stories from that first retreat. So I know they were life changing. But when I look back at how my life was running this company solo, doing it all, not knowing how to delegate, not knowing how to have a team, it was insane. And I remember I was sitting in Thailand with this guy. I was at a retreat center cleansing, trying to like recover from all this work. And I was chatting with him and I was just like, wow, I'm really exhausted. Like I'm trying to change people's lives and I'm so tired. And I started to look at it, I was like, I saw my dad working like this. I see society working like this. So I changed my passion to what I wanted it to be. And I changed my job and the way I make money, but I was still doing it how I saw others doing it. And so now it's a whole different world. Like once I got pregnant, I took, years of work off. My partner took over the company. And now I just, dip in the company for my genius zone. I'm like, what does the company need me for? And I learned how to delegate and now we have a team. We actually run less retreats every year. And we added on the academy, teaching people how to lead their own retreats. So, it's been a constant shift, but I still notice the compulsion to like do too much or work too hard. I still have to work with it all the time. Like I'm still learning how to rest. And yeah, it's been such a journey, but that first year running 15 retreats was really
Yeah, and
wild.
even that question of like it is amazing for everyone else, but is it amazing for you, right? And how are you showing up to
Mm,
as
yeah.
the as like holding space, even if you're not actually teaching, there's so much space that you're holding in the back end, and like I know that
Yeah.
from running both sides of it too, right? Of like how there's holding that container for people and all the shifts that happen from the retreat, especially internationally, right? Where you're dealing with all sorts of things that
Mm,
that
yeah, that come up. I'm curious if there's a retreat in mind, and could it be from that first year, could be up until now, but is there a retreat in particular that you can think about that you're like, that retreat taught me so much? It could be about like what you want to lean into or even what you don't want to lean into.
Oh man, there were some retreats. Like there was okay, there's one retreat that sticks out in my mind so vividly. And I think 99% of our retreats were just amazing. But there was this one retreat that we had in Bali many years ago. And this retreat really, really took it out of me. Like it really just kind of hit me in my heart. And we had this, this beautiful retreat center and all these women there. And these women on this retreat and the teacher on the retreat, like she taught some really deep, dark work with people that have really deep stuff going on. And so on this retreat, there were not that lawyers are not unhappy, but there were like lawyers and people with like really intense jobs, like doing intense law. And so not that that is like a dark path to go down, but people that were in really intense jobs. I remember one of the lawyers, she was saying she was dealing with like child abuse cases and stuff that like brings up a lot. So there was a retreat with people that were really working through a lot. And I don't even, like, remember the logistics at this point, it was just such a blur, but at one point, there was a circle in the retreat, and they were all mad at me, and they were, like, "The bed's not long enough," or, "We don't want refillable water stations, we want water bottles," or, "The pool's not cold enough or hot enough." Like, they were just saying these like wild things that was wrong, and they were so mad at me. And I've seen it happen on retreat before. I haven't had an entire group attack me. Like, I mean, it was like half the group attacking me. And I've seen these things because on retreat, people's stuff comes up. Like all of their triggers and traumas and stuff comes up. And it's really easy often, instead of sitting with it, it's really easy to ignore it and to blame it on someone or something. So I've often seen people like, "This food or this bed doesn't work or this pillow doesn't work." And I'm like, "Hey, what's really going on?" So anyways, with these women, there was just so much going on and they just wanted to attack me. And, it caused this really chaotic circle where they're like asking me to leave. And then some of the other girls are like crying because they didn't want me to leave. And it was just so, so much. And I didn't know what to do. I felt, it was probably one of the hardest parts on my retreat journey. And I actually got a tattoo after this retreat, and it says, it's on my wrist, and one says, Meta. Oh my, I don't know if you can see these. One says Meta and one says Sohei. So these little tattoos on each wrist. And Meta is love and kindness. And there's often times when people come with this at, if you're working a job or if you're coaching or if you're holding retreats, like there is often a time to hold that space with love and kindness. Like, I hear you. I see you. Like, tell me what you need. How can I support you? And that's often like a great way to handle things. And then the other end, which I had to learn from this retreat, is called Sohei, and it's the Japanese Buddhist warrior. And I'm half Japanese, by the way, so I felt somewhat connected to it. But it's a Japanese Buddhist warrior who is a Buddhist warrior. So I really had to learn that balance of like where I can show up with too much love and kindness, or where some people might push me, because I was a young girl running a company, and these women were much older than me. And I also had to learn, like, where do I hold a boundary? What is okay and what is not okay for people to come at me with? And this retreat was a profound learning lesson for me. And, I just took away all the lessons that I could. And I realized, you know what? Someone told me after this retreat, they're like, when you are doing big things, people will come after you. So just a really good thing to remember, like as you show up in your purpose, as your passion, as you put yourself out there, as you put your voice out there, like things will come at you. And sometimes you have to show up with love and kindness, and sometimes you have to show up as that Japanese Buddhist warrior and be like, "No, I will not take this. I have a stand for myself." But I did realize at that point, like the bigger you go, the bigger you grow, the bigger you want to build your business, you will also receive more. And can you withstand that? Can you hold that? Can you still keep moving above that and not let that bring you down? So in that moment, I had to be like, I will not let this down. I have a bigger mission than this, and I'm going to keep going. And I did. And it's like it just made me stronger in the end.
Such a practice. I find myself practicing that all the time as I expand, as I hold more, as I
Mhm.
do more. It's like it's not going to be this 5-star experience for everyone, but like you said, how it's coming in that from that customer service mindset also of like, how can I help you? How can I support you? How can I be here with you? But having that understanding that it's there's going to be things that happen, and you kind of holding in your
Yeah.
leadership too. So I know
Yeah.
that you mentioned you've been doing this for 7 years, I believe. And I know that there's a lot of retreat, companies out there, people hosting retreats. Retreats have just been blowing up. Everyone is doing retreats of some kind, right?
Mhm.
So for you, when you think about Revamp and it has like your first baby, right? What do you feel like is,
Mhm.
I guess, the Revamp touch, right? How do you feel like you
Mm.
create these experiences that might be a little bit unique?
It's funny, I was, in the beginning of Revamp, I was, like, working with an energy work I was doing so much energy work on the business, and I'd work with different energy workers and people that would help see things and help me make decisions, and I feel like I really make decisions on an energetic level, like, I'm a big feeler, a feeler of people, a feeler of businesses, and that's how I move forward and, with heart and with how things feel. And I remember talking to someone, like, one of my healers and someone that was helping me she was, like, a healer and helped me see on the back end of the business, and I remember, like, this random conversation, but I was like, "I just don't know how Revamp's doing so well," because there's so many retreat companies, like, everyone has wanted to start a retreat company and retreats all over the world, and I'm like, I barely knew what I was doing and launched with 15, and I've started them all over the world, and it's been so successful, like, that first year was so successful. And she was like, there is something so much bigger than you. Whether you're listening and you believe in like other beings or other energies or whatever it is. She's like something else is holding your company that like is so much bigger than you and is on this same mission and the same path as you. And a part of that like resonates as so true, but I think what really has set us apart is Revamp has come from like the depths of my heart. I was so changed. My life was so changed by this retreat that I would have given everything to help people have this same experience. And that had to really be a practice. Like I had to really work at that because I really did give everything that first year. And later I had to realize like people are on their own path and they will make the decision and they got themselves and I have to trust them. But the company and the energetics is just with so much love and intention and such a deep why. And I think that is what is felt by everyone who comes. So, like every retreat can be different. We can have a yoga retreat, a women's retreat, a biohacking retreat. Like nowadays, you can find a retreat for anything that you are looking for. And I think some will be really powerful and some might be okay and you might not be blown away. But I think that is what has been the basis of our retreat is like this company has started with such a deep mission and such deep purpose. And it's like it's been a life mission, like a life purpose for me to give this to other people. And I think that is why it has been so powerful and why it's been so successful and why it's
Yeah,
worked.
it's truly authentic to you. And like you said, cut like that strong, deeper why behind why you're doing it. And the inspiration behind it is like,
Yeah.
I can also feel it. It's nothing but like, this is the real deal, right?
Yeah.
You're not just starting a retreat company because you feel like it's cool. Like it's really coming from your heart,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
beautiful. So, yeah, let's talk about your second baby. I know that motherhood has been one of that's actually how
Mhm.
I initially connected to you and found you, as I saw that you were going to be doing a podcast and you came into kind of my social media world through that and through Revamp, obviously. But I know that right now, motherhood is like a big piece of your journey and supporting mothers and just being in your mom era. So I would love to hear, what was that transition like from like business, I'm doing it, I'm an entrepreneur, to like, I'm going to wear this other hat and lean into that.
I love the mom era. I find the mom era is like so cool and so sexy and such a vibe. I think in the past we looked at like the mom era, like going from the business babe to the mom era, and it's like we're giving up something. But now I'm like, the mom era is the coolest. I'm like, everyone wants to be in the mom era now. All my friends are like, I want to have babies. Like this looks amazing, and it's a lot of work, but it is. But yeah, wow, it was a big, big, big transition, and I was really prepared as I could have been. I like really put in the work to prepare and so much came up. So I'll touch on a couple of the big transitions. So first of all, going to this like freedom-based boss babe energy of like I'm going to travel the world, do what I want, I'm on my own schedule into really first of all like I had to go through such a transition in partnership. Like I really had to learn how to be in partnership because partnership was not easy for me. I'm a solo, powerful woman. So I really had to learn like how to be a team player, how to open my heart and let my guards down, how to drop into my feminine. And I think having a baby threw me into the deep ends of that. It's like, that first 40 days, we did 40 days in, and I really just healed and was in rest and relaxation and nourishing food. I was in that space, and I really had to learn how to receive. And my whole life, I'm like a doer and a giver and a creator, and like I don't need people to take care of me. And I really had to learn how to slow down, how to fully receive, which is so the feminine. It's like the feminine is the ultimate receiver. It's like how much expansion, how much opening can you do to receive? And so that's been my motherhood journey. It's receiving support from my partner, receiving support from my community, receiving love and support from everyone around me. And I think it starts on the pregnancy journey because you're not in the same vibe. Like everything slows down. You might not feel good. You might need food made for you. So I found it really beautiful. And I also found it at times really hard and really challenging. But I really had to drop more into my feminine and into receiving and relying on my partner and community and support and nannies and my mother and just everyone around me because you cannot mom alone. It does not work. And people do, but it's just not a system that works. And I want a system that works for my family and for my little one. Like I want him to be surrounded by so much love and care. So I had to learn how to slow down. I had to learn how to delegate. I had to learn how to release control in my business. That might have been one of the hardest ones, and just trust that other people will take care of it and that other people got it. And that someone might not do it the same way I do it, but they'll do it in their own way. And that could be great too. So there's a lot of transitions going from this boss babe energy to a mom because a mom is not, a mom's a boss babe in a whole new way. It's a soft boss babe. It's a receiver. It's nourishing and full and beautiful and wise and crazy and hectic. And so I'm still in the depths of learning, but I love it. And I think the thing that has made me so well adjusted, the thing that has made motherhood so successful for me is I've come at it the same way I've come to everything else, the same way I've come to my company and the same way I've come to living life and creating freedom. It's like I really care. So I have read all the books, I have talked to all the people. I started a podcast to literally interview people about motherhood. I'm like, I want to know how to do this right. I want to know how to feel good. I want to know how can moms thrive because moms should thrive. I want to know how our babies can thrive and what is our society not doing right, you know? And now I find that there's so much our society has not done right with childhood. It's like letting children cry it out, letting children like sleep alone and learn to sleep in their own bedrooms. Like there's just so much that society has taught us. And so again, it's just like that aha moment in Costa Rica with my life and my freedom. I've had the same aha moments with motherhood, which is wow, society has put us into, coming from America as well, a box of how mothers feel, how they're not supported, how they're so tired, how children are, how we make children more better, and they should listen to us, and how we command them to do things. And I'm like, none of this resonates with me. So now I take that same model of my life, my own freedom to motherhood. How do I feel well? How do I feel free? How does my child feel free? How does he feel respected and loved? And so, it's like you take these models from one thing in your life to another. So now I'm creating the model of motherhood and family and how can that thrive? So it's a journey. I'm like, not every day is
Yeah.
easy. We had a couple bumps this morning, actually, like right before this podcast. I'm like, I need to really get into the zone because we had a bumpy morning. But that's the journey of life. It's always learning and growing, and you just gotta stay committed and devoted and open your heart.
Yeah, I so resonate with this. Motherhood really blasted my like heart open and my mind open, and definitely even during pregnancy, I started teaching prenatal yoga, and I'm still teaching my prenatal yoga classes monthly with women. And I love just to be in that space of. I love to be around pregnant women, right? There's such
Mhm.
crazy shifts that are happening, and mind and mental and physical, and it really sparked this interest of wanting to learn more about like unwinding some of the things that we've been like traditionally taught, and like thinking about business and babies and motherhood. And I loved listening to have loved listening to your podcast, because it is because it feels like really like a safe space of like, okay, we can go deep into these topics and talk about them in like a modern way too. And one of the big things that
Yeah.
I feel like has come up for me in motherhood is my decision making has just become really a lot more clear, where there's just less time to work with, right? Like there's less like
Mm.
working in spaces that you don't need to be, like things that you don't need to be doing. I feel like it's allowed me to be like, no to
Mm.
this, yes to this, and like just kind of clarity on that. And I know you've made some big decisions with like, okay, my partner is going to step into Revamp, or this is the support I'm going to need. I'm going to make my village here in Bali. So, what has your decision making been like since becoming a mother, of like what has been super clear and then what's been like, something that you're
Mm.
evolving?
I mean, the entire way that I work and want to work moving forward has completely shifted. Like, that has been one of the biggest things because you're right. There is just not enough time, nor do you want to give up the time with your children to be pouring into work. So, every work decision now, what are moves I can make in my business that set ourselves up and that set our family up for the future without me having to show up every time. So I stopped taking one-to-one coaching clients and I stopped doing things where I have to always be there and show up. So I'm thinking what could help us scale, what could help us grow without my time and energy because I want my time and energy to be with my family. So yeah, everything I'm doing with work, I'm always seeing like what sets us up for the future. How can we have reoccurring income? How can we set up our systems, our courses, my coaching, whether it's for Revamp or for motherhood, everything I want to share with the world is like, how can I bring ease, so much delegation, so much support with everything I do? So that is the work side. And then with the family side, I think, you know, when before you're a mom, you have yourself to worry about and you have a partnership, but like even in partnership without children, it's like you ultimately have yourself because you could stay or go in that partnership. Once you have a child, you're like, okay, this is a family now. Like we have a lot of responsibility for each other. So my decision making has really shifted to like, how does our family stay well? Like, how do we stay healthy and happy? So now my decisions are about, the foods that our family is eating, like, I am so particular on how our family eats and the foods we intake and the herbs and the, organic produce and, like, what we eat going out and, like, the food that I make at home. Like, I am dedicated in the kitchen these days. And how do we take care of ourselves? Like, how do I fill myself up? How does my partner fill his self back up? Because there is just so much less time and energy. So how do we manage our time? How do we manage our calendars? Like there are just so many more systems and structures and ways of doing things that we've had to decide to set up. It's like a new blueprint for our family. So my biggest decision making was like taking everything off the focus of myself and then putting it onto my family, my little one, my wellness and like the blueprint of our family. And man, like everything just changes. I'm like, I feel like as a single woman, you can be like really selfish with your time and energy. You could just lay in bed all day if you wanted to. And now dedicating your life to a human, it's like every moment you want to be so intentional. So we have a very intentional blueprint for our family and for our life and for our work and for our travels. And then we're constantly tweaking it to see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about that piece of like optimizing, because what I'm noticing, and I'm only almost 11 months into being a mother, but I'm noticing that even with, for example, childcare and support and even self-care, like it
Mm,
works until it doesn't, right? And then you kind of shift and evolve and you're like, okay,
mm,
well, maybe I need a little bit more support on a Friday, right? Or whatever it might be. So like it's constantly like kind of evolving and like optimizing what fits
mm.
now, knowing that like it's going to change. So for you, what does your support look like there in Bali? Like how have you kind of evolved? Like you mentioned, nanny or school or childcare, like you and your partner, like how has
Yeah.
that changed?
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, if I look back at these first 2 years, I'm like, our what we needed in every moment of having a child has changed drastically over the first 2 years because they're a completely different human every 3 months, you know? It's like one day they're sitting there, the next day they're running around, the next day you have to feed them. So, wow, yes, our blueprint has continuously changed so much over these first 2 years. As for support, we are so lucky being here in Bali, and it's something that I'm so grateful about because if we were in America, we could not have the support that we do here, or we could, and it would just look a lot different. So I'm going to reframe that. We totally could have the support we have here. It would just look different. So here in Bali, it's so affordable and so reasonable and so easy to have support. So we have two different nannies that have been with River since he was 2 months old. They've been a part of our family, not even with River. Since 2 months old, they've been a part of our family. And in the beginning, like I didn't need support with River so much. I needed support for our family. So they were here helping, making sure I had water and food and helping clean and cook and make sure our cat was okay. And just they were helping our household stay organized because we don't have family. It's me and my partner, and we're not meant to raise children in like single unit households. So they were like, you know, the family that we don't have here. And so in our house every day and just helping our house work and helping me have a moment. And, Christian, my partner, was like waking up every moment with the baby to make sure I could sleep in. So things have continued to evolve. But now at 2 years old, we still have the same two women here at our house, our nannies that are part of our family. We love them so much. River loves them so much. Sometimes he wants to go to them instead of me, and it just breaks my heart. I'm like, no, mom. But he just loves them. And they are here 6 to 7 days a week, anywhere from like 4 hours to 7 hours every day. And that time is, some of the time is with River, but the other time is like going to the market, helping us get groceries. I cook pretty much all of our food at home. So helping me prep food, helping me cook, helping clean up. They like help our household function, and they help Christian focus on work more. So Christian will focus on work and then being with River, and me and the nannies, their names are Ayu and Dewi, they will help me run the household. And they also help, like, if I wanna run out to a Pilates class or if I have, an interview, like, they'll be with River. And so our days are always kinda just fluid and flowing, and, I take several hours away from momming every single day. Like, 2 to 5 hours every single day is meant for a workout or self-care or meditating or working or doing interviews, and then the rest of the time I'm with River and cooking food for the family and going out for walks outside and hanging out with the family. So it's a balance. And even having so much support, like sometimes I feel guilty or sometimes I feel like, oh my God, they're with my child. I want to be with my child. And I can't be with my child 24/7. Like, nor should moms. I don't think it's good for moms or for children. So I've really had to, find what feels good and to rely on other people and to let River be loved by other people. And they love him so much. And I had to shift the guilt to being like, wow, to have so many people in River's life that love him so deeply is such a blessing. And then when we travel, they just take care of our house and take care of our cat and like make sure everything still goes. And sometimes they bring their children over to our house and like all the children play. And my ultimate goal, like the next blueprint, the next step that I want to move into is we want to buy land here in Bali, and I want to build a community. So I want to build a house for us and then several other houses. And I'd love to have families there and community spaces and a community pool and a community garden and chickens, because we're meant to live in community. Like we're meant to raise babies in community. We're meant to live in community. So that is my next dream and my next step that I am working towards and that our family is working
That
towards.
sounds incredible. Also sounds like you have like angels
Yeah.
there who's like supporting you and having that support so that you can
Oh,
you
yeah.
can do what you need to do to refill your cup and then come back, and just having that, yeah, being with you guys since he was 2 months old. Like there's such a strong
Mhm.
relationship I'm sure that is built, and that trust with your family too. And I can totally envision
Mm.
that community Bali, like village that you talk about on your podcast a lot, and like bringing that into real life as well. For you, when you think about like on the days, I talk about this a lot with my clients. I'm like, on the amazing days where you have all the time in the world, you can do all the self care things that you want to do, right? It's like these long, slow mornings and cooking and all of that. But in real life, there's going to be those days that are like wild, and you're like, I have no time. I have 5 minutes this morning for myself. So for you, what have you found to be like the non-negotiable, that if like, okay, if all else hits the fan,
Mm.
I have to do this thing and this is my non-negotiable? It could be a couple things, but what do you find is like the
Mm.
priority for you in the hard days?
movement. I like moving my body, and it's movement and breath. Like I think the bigger thing is actually the breath. You know when you're doing something and it's really like the underlining thing that is actually creating the massive impact. So I say it's movement, but it's mostly because in movement I'm doing very mindful breath. And so on most days when I have support, when I have it in my schedule, I will go to a class. I do reformer Pilates, I go boxing, I go to yoga, and it's amazing. And then there's chaos days where I don't have that, or where I'm with my whole family that day, or we're on vacation and we're like all together. And then I still find a way. I'm like, great, let's go on a walk with the whole family. Let's go surfing. Let's go swimming. I'll take river swimming. It just like moving my body and breathing is my magic key to just coming back to myself when things feel a little crazy. And River knows I love yoga. So every day he's like, yoga? Yoga? Are you going to go to yoga or should we do yoga? And so even right before this interview, I was in his room and he's like, yoga? And I was like, okay. So he told me to lie down on the bed and he got some lotion and he massages my arms while I
Oh
breathe.
my gosh, that's amazing.
I had this woman come over. There's people called like stretchers here in Bali. It's like a company and someone comes over and stretches you out. And I did it with River at home. So this woman came over. She brought this mat out and she stretched out my body. And River at first was like watching and a little timid. And then he's like, oh, okay, cool. So he went to his room, he got his lotion and he put his lotion on me and he helped her stretch me out. And so integrating these things with River, like he's seen my workouts, he's seen me get stretched out, and then he knows I like it. So now it's, it's something that he loves to ask if I want to do it. I've showed him poses, like he does a little down dog. He can do a down dog and lift a leg up. And I think that's the important thing with motherhood wellness. Whatever we're doing, we're teaching our children. If we're putting health and movement first, if we're making that a priority, our children see that and they put it first when they get older, like they make it a priority. So I think it is so important to all the mamas listening or want to be mamas listening, the way that you take care of yourself, your body, your mind, our children see that and it impacts them. And so like that should be a priority because it will teach them to take care of themselves and how important it is. So yeah, River's thing is he loves yoga every day. If I leave the house to do anything, he's like, yoga. And then if I'm in his room, he's like, should we do yoga
That's
together?
amazing. I can only hope. Well, when I come to Bali, well, I'll have to teach River some yoga as well. And, River and Sky playing. I can totally imagine it.
Oh my God. If you could lead a little mama baby, I'm like, I want to bring him to mama baby yoga class. I don't know anyone
Yeah.
who's doing it, but you could come over to my house and we'll do a little
Yes.
mama baby yoga class. Oh, River would love
Amazing.
it.
So, I know you've talked a lot about your experience in Bali, which is magical. A lot of people who are coming to the retreat in July, a lot of them have said yes and have never come to Bali. Some of them are coming for their first retreat ever. A lot of them are coming on their first solo trip ever, never left by themselves. So this is a big trip for a lot of people. And Bali has been such a special place for me. It's where I did my first solo trip years ago. It's where I did my yoga teacher training. It's always taught me something being there. And I definitely feel like Bali is a piece of my future. And so for people who are listening that are like, wanting to come explore Bali, but also just thinking about like, should I even go on a retreat? I don't know if I don't know if I should take that step. What would you say to Bali first timers as well as retreat first timers?
Okay. So Bali first timers, I truly believe, and this is a well-known saying, and I'm sure you know this as well, like Bali calls people in. They call it Mama Bali, and this island has so much energy. And she really does call you in. And that's how I think I landed here before COVID. I was called in by her to go at that time. So if you are feeling the call to go to Bali, I deeply believe there is purpose for you to be here. And I'm not saying that purpose is going to be easy and graceful and rainbows and butterflies. Like I have been torn to shreds being here in Bali. Like Bali has given me some really intense energy, but that energy has catapulted my life into something so beautiful. So I feel like, they also call Bali like the place where you get your own medicine. Like they call it, Mama Bali and the medicine. And it's this place where the medicine that you need to see, to know, to understand your life, your path, where you're going, what you're creating, like that's what Bali gives you. So I truly believe if you feel the call to come to Bali, like go, take the step. It's such a beautiful culture, such beautiful people, such a beautiful place to be. Like it's so nurturing. And at times really intense. Like I think the energy here moves really fast, but I think there is medicine here. So that's what I would say to all the people who feel the call to come to Bali and have not been. As far as a retreat, I think a retreat is literally the best way to go travel, especially if you have not been somewhere, because everything is set up for you. Like, getting there and being picked up and going to this beautiful location and then being in work and in community, like being in beautiful, deep practices and rituals and work and being in community. That is the best way to be in a new culture. And it's so different than going on a vacation. If you go on a vacation, you're going to be like, yeah, we'll go to the beach and have some good food and I'll go do a yoga class. And then you'll go home and like not much has changed, but you had a great vacation. You go on a retreat somewhere and you come back and you're like, wow, my entire life has changed. I'm going to make all these shifts. I want to start this retreat or this company and I want to, shift this in my partnership. Like something is profoundly shifted in your life after retreats, whether that's small or big or shows up now or in the future. So, especially if it's like the first time going to a place or if you're just feeling the call for transformation, go on a retreat. Like, go on a retreat with Liv, go on a retreat with Revamp, go on any retreat, go on a retreat that you are called to go on. Every time I have gone on a retreat, and I've gone on so many retreats outside of my own company, every time, wow, like something has shifted for me. Every
Same.
time.
Retreats have been when I could trace back some of
Yeah.
the biggest changes, shifts, evolutions that have happened. Like I can always trace them back to some retreat. And I'm really excited to get to the point soon at some point where I go on another retreat, without a little one, just
Mhm.
having my own sort of a mother's
Ah.
retreat. But for now, I like hosting them. I like holding the space. And I know that retreats are always going to be a big piece of my journey. Like it's always a treat to
Yeah.
myself at any season, any year, any time.
Yeah. I really feel my next calling is motherhood retreats. I like really want to bring mothers together in community, in healing, in wellness, like thriving together to bring this back to their families. So that is my next vision and the next place that I'm going. So I'd love to have
I
you on a
love
mother's
that.
retreat
Count
one
me
day.
in. So for you, I know that you have a range of things happening kind of next in your life. You have the Retreat Leaders Academy, you have, Mama Culture podcast, Mother's Retreats on the horizon. But what is something that you're really excited about that you're manifesting next, even in just like the next year, a little bit more short term? What's something you're excited about?
It's really good and really interesting. So I also love numerology. I love astrology, human design, numerology. Like I love diving into all of this to understand my own humanness. And I'm in a 7 year, which is really a year of rest and gathering more information. So I've been in this, I think the quietest, most standstill space I've ever been in a long time. Like I've always been building a company and having a baby and creating something new and launching this. And so this year I've just been really in this place of stillness and pausing and gathering new information and resources. And I feel a call to a lot of things next, but I have not been taking action purposefully. I'm like, no, I'm just going to wait and continue to let it land. I think there's a time to take action and try a little bit of everything and launch something and test this out and test that out. And that will come for me too. And right now, I am just in a place of really opening to something that is bigger than what I can even imagine. Because I'm like, great, I could create this motherhood course. I do want to create some things for mamas. I want to record some courses for mamas. I want to create this membership circle. And those are all amazing. But I'm like, but there's something bigger than that that is landing in my space. So I've just been practicing opening to that. And so in the next year, like, yes, I want to create this land and this community space and like land in that with my family. And I want to create motherhood retreats because that just fits right into Revamp and right into the Mama Culture podcast. And there is something bigger. And it's like I ask myself some questions like, what is the legacy I want to live? What is the massive impact I want to make on this world? And what do I want my own life to look like? And those are the questions I keep going back to let this thing land. And I do feel that it's in the motherhood space. And I just want to change. I want to change. I want it to change the way we parent worldwide. Because a lot of us know it. A lot of us in Bali understand it. A lot of us get this new way of parenting. But I want to get resources to parents and to mothers, to mothers around the world. I want to get them resources and support and love and care to help them thrive. So the way in which that is coming through, I'm letting land because I really need to figure out like what will get to everyone? Like, how could I be of massive impact to really reach all these mothers that really need it? And how can I make it accessible? So that is also the big thing I have for my future dreams, manifestations, desires, and I'm really opening to how it will land. And if anyone has any ideas, or if anyone feels the call for me, just let me know. I am like, I think my teledipity even said, like, be open to conversations and questions and connections that will help bring this in. So I'm just really surrendering and trusting something bigger, like that something will land, because I want to massively shift the way moms are feeling.
Yeah, such an important reminder that like the creative process isn't just like I have the idea and I launch and like it's out and it's perfect, right? But like bigger pieces of what you do like does require that like listening, feeling into it. Maybe it's like slightly different and like not rushing that process too. I can relate to that so much
Yeah.
right now as I'm kind of creating these different offers and figuring out what stays and what goes and like almost being
Mhm.
I've been my so much of my life has been launch mode, right? And like having switching that to like,
Yeah.
how about the second part of the year is not launch mode, right? And how can I like even though the ideas and it sounds like you're the same way, like you have the ideas that they're like constantly popping up, but like not all ideas need to come out and be launched, and it can also
Yeah.
sit too. So that's a beautiful reminder.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, I have a million ideas a day. Literally, if someone could just help me start businesses, I have 1,000 business ideas just like sitting there
Yeah.
ready to go. And I have to learn to sit and wait and be like, not every idea has to be moved forward. Some ideas are great and some ideas don't have to be created. And I'm also a manifesting generator, my human design. So like I love creating and building, but this time I'm being patient because I know it's something bigger, some bigger impact. And I'm being patient and
Amazing.
listening.
All right. So I would love to close this
Yeah.
out with a question I'm asking at the end of every conversation, which is what is lighting you up these days?
Thriving as a mama. I'm like, that is the thing I just go back to again and again, because I notice that when I'm thriving as a mama, my little one's thriving, my partnership is thriving, my business is thriving. And so constantly like digging into the question is like, how am I thriving as a mama? And so for me, that's going back into, being in deep connection with my body, moving my body, breathing, cooking, putting nourishing foods in my body, taking moments of stillness and rest, having moments in nature. So that is what is lighting me up, like how I can thrive as a mama, but how can others thrive as well? And I just have so much care for mamas. Like I really care and resonate and love all mamas. And I'm like, I just want them all to be well and like more than well. I want them to thrive. So that is what is lighting me up.
So great to connect with you. I'm so excited to connect with you in person in just a
Yeah.
few months. And I know this
Yeah.
will be really inspiring for people to listen, whether they're a mama or not, or knowing a mama. And just that thought of like,
Yeah.
we get to thrive and we get to fill our own cups. And it's not something that is like an afterthought, it's the main focus. So
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
so much for making the time.
And it doesn't always have to be with more. Like we got to go back to like we all
Yes.
get this. Like it is the simplicity of like our like yeah, just God-given rights here. Like this is the simplicity like to be able to thrive as a mama. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I cannot wait to see you here in
Yes,
Bali.
yes. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, please rate and review, and don't forget to subscribe. Learn more at enowellnesscollective.com and connect with us on Instagram at enowellnesscollective.